You are standing at the center of a silent yet precise movement. The veil of reality around you is thinning layer by layer, and the small, seemingly meaningless details of your day begin to align into a single bright thread. The repeating numbers on the clock, a phone call that comes just as you think of someone, a sentence you casually say and then hear again elsewhere in the afternoon. None of it is random. It is how the quantum field shows you that your inner frequency is shifting, that probability waves are finding one another and collapsing into a new pattern, not loudly, not dramatically, but steady and certain, like a heartbeat that has found a new rhythm. When the frequency changes, the brain starts filtering new data. Sensory channels once ignored become clearer, and the border between inner and outer begins to soften. Life no longer happens to you. It happens through you, through silent beliefs, micro decisions, and the brief moments when you notice yourself stopping before repeating an old reaction. That instant of pause is the gap wide enough for another reality to slide in like a secondary track, waiting for you to flip the switch and steer the train toward a new route. You have changed not because you tried to, but because what once felt familiar has lost its magnetism. Conversations that once excited, you now leave. A quiet emptiness spaces that used to comfort you now feel too small. It is not because they have worsened, but because your frequency no longer fits. Your subtle body senses this long before your logical mind does, sending signals through strange fatigue when you are in the wrong place, and through a light yet clear surge of energy when you are aligned. If you pay attention, you will see that your body is always honest with frequency, while the mind tends to delay the truth in order to feel safe. The old loop loves pretending to change. It paints over the surface, moves some furniture, promises a new feeling, yet the floor plan stays the same. You walk a full circle only to find yourself back where you began. The difference between surface change and frequency restructuring lies in depth and stillness. Surface change excites you briefly. Frequency shift gives you calm without needing proof. You do not have to announce it because the environment responds on your behalf. The right people appear, aligned opportunities emerge, and what no longer fits quietly leaves no drama, no willful cutting away, because the frequency has already made the decision before language could. The brain craves novelty for dopamine, yet clings to the familiar for safety. This tension traps many lives inside repetitive scripts. They switch characters, settings, props, but the underlying plot never changes. You no longer belong to that play, and the emptiness you feel when revisiting an old storyline is priceless. It means the ego has lost its monopoly on choice, and the observer consciousness has taken the wheel. From this point, every small decision matters. The time you go to bed, how you unlock your phone in the morning, the 5 seconds of silence before you reply. Each is a micro adjustment on your frequency control board. The quantum field responds rapidly to these fine-tunings, often faster than to grand declarations, lacking energetic weight because the field does not listen to words, it listens to coherence between emotion, thought, and action. It listens to what you repeat every day. To anchor the new frequency, you need a gentle kind of courage, not the aggressive kind that shouts, but the quiet persistence to stay still without immediate reward, to sit in the gap between old and new without rushing to fill it with familiar noise. That gap is your laboratory where neural pathways rearrange, where old circuits weaken from lack of attention and new ones strengthen through consistent choice. When this happens one day, you will notice that situations which once triggered you now pass without resistance, not because you are numb, but because your internal axis has shifted. The old pattern has lost its anchor. You are no longer the one who needs to prove, you are the one broadcasting. Pay attention to the small synchronicities, they are real-time maps. You think of a direction and see the answer on a billboard at a red light. You intend to change your evening routine, and an old friend suddenly invites you for a walk. Exactly when you would have been staring at your screen, you wonder if it is a sign. The answer is in your body. If your chest expands, if your breath deepens, if your forehead relaxes, even while your thoughts hesitate, take it as approval from your inner intelligence. You do not need superstition to read signals. You only need honesty with your subtle sensations that were always there beneath the noise of habit and fear. True change never seeks attention. It does not name itself. It arrives quietly yet firmly through the simplest adjustments. You wake up 30 minutes earlier and your whole day brightens. You drink more water and your inner dialogue softens. You clean your desk and a forgotten idea returns. You say a clear no and another door opens without sound. These are vectors pulling you out of friction and into flow. The more they align, the stronger the total force, and once the threshold is reached, the system jumps not gradually but suddenly, like water hitting the freezing point when crystalline order appears everywhere at once. When your life reaches that threshold, you will know, because everything that felt fragmented will suddenly fit together with a quiet sense of rightness, as if it had always been that way. Do not confuse the stillness of alignment with the heaviness of stagnation. Stagnation is dense and dull. Peace is light and clear. Stagnation pins you down and fills you with self-blame. Peace lifts you with simplicity and clarity. If you feel light without reason, it is a good sign, because your body has received the message before your mind. If you feel clear without needing explanation, keep walking. Do not look back for old proof. New evidence will arise when the field is coherent enough. You do not need perfection to continue. You only need honesty with your signals. A small right decision today is more powerful than a grand plan postponed indefinitely. If you recognize a repeating knot, make a micro change at the origin, change the seat you work in, shift your environment when you need focus, alter the way you begin a conversation, change the sentence you say to yourself before sleep. These seem small, but they reprogram the trajectory, like adjusting a few parameters of an equation that send the outcome to another realm. You do not need to force others to understand. When your frequency stabilizes, misaligned interactions will naturally drift away, not from judgment, but from the simple physics of resonance. You are not here to police energy or correct others. Your only task is to keep your own field clean and sovereign. When you do the right, people will recognize you without being called, and the sources of confusion will fade. Their departure might sting because the ego mourns familiarity, but behind the sadness lies clarity, and behind clarity a new rhythm. That rhythm is quiet but steady, carrying a sense of trust you have long sought. This is the moment to redefine your inner identity. You are no longer the one chasing outcomes. You are the one designing conditions, and you are not the collector of fragments. You are the arranger of order that lets the fragments align themselves. You no longer strive to change others' perception of you. You simply live your authentic frequency and let the field answer for you. You do not wait for milestones to confirm your progress. You trust the small daily evidences, for they are the building blocks of transformation. And when the foundation is ready, the door opens as a natural consequence. If you have read this far and something in your heart quietly nods, do not rush to explain it. Let that feeling lead you. Choose one simple act today to reinforce the new frequency. Clean a drawer, take a 15-minute walk without your phone, write 3 sentences acknowledging what you did, ask one kind question in your next conversation, turn off your screen an hour before sleep. These actions are not for show. They are your silent declaration to the field I have chosen. I am living as my new frequency. From there, every door will fulfill its role, And all you need to do is keep walking lightly, steadily, calmly. For now, the mechanism has changed. You are no longer walking alone. You are moving within an invisible system of support measurable by its results. Peace increases, clarity expands, synchronicity multiplies, and resistance fades until only the smooth current of right alignment remains. There is a mechanism more intricate than any machine ever built, operating quietly within the human mind and determining how reality resets itself each day. You believe you are living anew, but in truth you are merely replaying a slightly altered version of the same frame. Every time you revisit a familiar emotion, anger, fear, disappointment, or helplessness, you are returning to an old orbit of probability where the same energetic waves collapse to produce the same outcomes you once thought you had transcended. This repetition does not come from weakness, but from consciousness's oldest survival instinct. The brain prioritizes safety over freedom. It chooses what is known, even if painful, rather than stepping into the unknown, even if joy awaits. That is why you change jobs but meet the same kind of boss, change partners but face the same kind of ending, move to a new city but still feel trapped because the inner software was never rewritten, only the interface refreshed. The observing mind is only the surface. The real control patterns lie beneath, where layers of neural signals, emotions, and memories intertwine to form repeating energetic structures. Every time you react the same way, neural clusters reinforce the same path. Energy flows through the route of least resistance, and reality reconstructs itself into a familiar image with minor variations, just enough to fool you into thinking something is new. This illusion of novelty lulls people into believing they are progressing when in fact they are circling the same center. The mechanism mirrors quantum physics, where the observer directly affects the outcome of measurement. When you carry the same frequency, you cannot perceive a different reality because it is your own energy causing the wave function to collapse in the same way as before. No one outside is controlling you. It is the entanglement between your beliefs, emotions, and actions that forms a closed loop, regenerating, matching experiences. Like choosing the same song on a playlist of thousands, your subconscious craves the rhythm it knows. Each time you listen, memory, neurochemistry, and emotion re-trigger, creating a perfect feedback loop. When coincidence becomes habit, freedom disappears. Yet the loop hides in plain sight. It reveals itself through faint sensations you usually ignore. A morning that feels too familiar, a conversation that drains you without reason, fatigue that lingers though nothing is wrong. These are signs that the old field has pulled you back. The human mind thinks itself free, yet most actions follow pre-written neural scripts. Neuroscience calls this automation of the brain, while ancient teachings call it karma or samsara, the wheel of repetition. Different names, same essence, consciousness trapped in its own inertia, thinking the same, feeling the same, speaking the same, acting the same energy, locks itself in an old configuration. Reality mirrors it perfectly. There are no errors in the system, only accurate reflection. If you want proof that the quantum field is precise, look at your own cycles. They repeat as rhythmically as an equation's pulse. This repetition, when seen, clearly becomes the mirror revealing the source code you are running. Every cycle has structure. It begins with an impulse followed by a familiar reaction, then the emotion, after the reaction, regret, and then repetition. Each round strengthens the same energetic pathway. When you recognize the pattern, you need not despise it, just see it with stillness, for seeing clearly is the first fracture in its hold. Observation without reaction is the most extraordinary act a human can perform because it defies the ancient survival reflex. The moment you witness the loop but refrain from reacting, the probability wave has not yet collapsed. You open a new branch, a possibility never accessed before. Consciousness breaks old orbits, not by struggle but through still awareness. What makes the loop powerful is its disguise. You believe this relationship is different, this job is better, this opportunity is the real beginning. But if your inner drive still stems from fear or lack, you are replicating the same frequency in a different costume. Many seek change by movement, new places, new people, but the same energy travels with them. When the lesson of an old frequency is unlearned, it reappears in new forms until it is seen through. The universe does not punish, it teaches, and its teaching method is repetition until integration occurs. From a biological view, every emotion is a chemical pattern. When you stay in negative states long enough, your body becomes addicted to their chemistry. The emotion turns into a substance the body craves, and the mind will unconsciously create scenarios to get another dose. That is why you return to familiar conflicts. Even when you swear you are done, mind and body are not separate. They are a self-regulating electrochemical field. When awareness decides to change, the body resists like an addict denied its drug. That is why emptiness often follows the end of a toxic pattern. It is not failure, but withdrawal. At the quantum level, every emotional pattern emits a specific vibration field. These fields act as attractors, pulling in events, people, and situations that resonate with their frequency. When you vibrate with fear, life presents scenes that trigger fear. When you transmit trust synchronicities, align in your favor. Real change, therefore, cannot start from rearranging the external, but from recalibrating the internal signal. There is no shortcut, but there is certainty, and that certainty is consistency. Each day you choose one new response, one new thought, no matter how small you are, rewriting the code that guides the collapse of probability waves. The quantum field begins to register this new frequency and gradually reshapes reality to match. The challenge is patience. Most people quit before the synchronization completes. They demand instant proof. And when change does not appear fast enough, they revert to old reactions, reinforcing the loop. The universe misses no signal, it only waits for coherence. Every transformation begins as a tiny deviation in energy, but must be sustained to generate resonance. Hold that deviation long enough, and it becomes the new path. One day you will realize the loop has vanished. You will not know the exact moment it dissolved, for the process is silent, but you will sense it. Lightness, where weight once lived, calm, where chaos ruled clarity, where fog used to be. The loop was never your enemy, it was your most loyal teacher. It ends only when the lesson is fully absorbed. Sometimes that lesson is simply learning not to react, not to repeat the same justification, to choose silence instead of argument. Each time you do, you create a new probability for your system. And astonishingly, the universe always meets you right after that decision. When you dare to interrupt the old reflex, new possibilities instantly unfold, because old energy no longer occupies your space. This is not a fast process, but it is a real one. If you observe with enough subtlety, you will see that everything in your life is teaching you the same lesson in different disguises. Once you perceive the pattern beneath events, individual moments lose their power to shake you, because you understand that by altering your inner frequency, the entire matrix of your outer world reconfigures itself. From that moment, each day stops being a rerun and becomes an opportunity to etch a new signal into the field. And as the field changes, time changes, space changes, and you step out of the labyrinth, not through battle, but through absolute awareness. The moment you realize you are repeating yourself, even in the smallest action, is the first quantum pivot point within the entire system of consciousness. No ritual or external push is required, only a still lucid awareness, clear enough to see the familiar chain of reactions beginning to move, clear enough to no longer merge with it. That awareness is the gap between mechanics and consciousness, between habit and freedom, between living by inertia and living with sovereignty. In quantum physics, this is called the critical fluctuation point, the state in which a system becomes hypersensitive to even the smallest change. A single act of awareness causes the probability waves to oscillate differently. In life, that moment of recognition is the same vibration, the instant when energy gains a chance to break free from its old orbit and find a new trajectory. Many believe that to change, they must do something grand, move houses, quit jobs, end relationships. Yet real transformation always begins from something subtle, almost invisible, but powerful enough to dismantle the entire old structure. One moment of not reacting as before, a brief pause, a deeper breath before speaking. That is the opening point where a new probability begins to exist. You cannot escape a loop by force, for that effort still vibrates at the same frequency as what you are trying to surpass. But you can rise above it through silent observation, because silence carries a higher frequency than resistance. When you observe, energy reorganizes itself like water, ceasing to swirl in turbulence and naturally returning to stillness. This requires no force, only refinement, the quiet courage to not react, to watch yourself being pulled by an old wave while keeping your center unmoved. On the biological level, when you observe without reaction, the brain shifts from beta alertness to alpha or theta waves, opening states for reprogramming. New electrical impulses begin to form, old connections weaken, and the nervous system understands that the previous pattern is no longer fed by your attention, so it begins to dissolve. On the energetic level, your electromagnetic field softens, interference decreases, and within that stillness, new possibilities find their entry point. This is when awareness becomes the tool of reconstruction. When you see the loop without judgment, you shine consciousness into the shadow of the unconscious. Light does not fight darkness, it simply appears, and its presence alone drains power from the old program. Every loop has a function. It is not here to punish you, but to mirror what you have not yet seen. Each time you fall into the same scenario, pause and ask what energy inside you is being reflected here. Perhaps it is the feeling of being abandoned, unseen, controlled, or afraid of not being enough. These are the energy axes that have shaped your experiences so far. Once you see them, you reclaim power from the program. Like a player who recognizes the game, the rules lose authority. Real change does not happen at the level of events, but at the level of frequency. When you change perception, the same situation changes its role. What once caused pain becomes a lesson. The person who once hurt you becomes a mirror showing the unlit corner within you. Emotions cease to be enemies and become messages. Each time the loop returns, it is sending an invitation to reclaim authorship. If you react, you remain a guest. If you observe, you become the driver. The moment you stop to look, you step out of automation. And once you step out, the loop loses its operator and dissolves on its own. On a deeper energetic level, this is the moment of DNA restructuring. Epigenetic research shows that genes can change their expression simply through shifts in perception and emotion. When you choose to look at a memory with gratitude instead of resentment, your cells receive a different signal, new proteins are produced, and your body becomes physical evidence of inner transformation. This is not metaphor, but quantum biology in action. Consciousness does not merely influence energy, it shapes matter itself. The loop dissolves, not because you try, but because you understand. Understanding releases energy, the body stops recreating old chemical reactions, and the entire nervous system begins to synchronize with the new frequency. All true transformation begins in clarity, not conquest. At this level of awareness, you start to see that nothing is truly wrong. Even the repeated mistakes are parts of a precise program guiding the evolution of consciousness. You cannot learn to let go without first holding on. You cannot learn trust without once doubting. The universe moves in rhythms of contraction and expansion, and each loop is a contraction phase, storing energy for the next expansion. Seeing this, you stop resisting and begin to cooperate with the process. When the loop returns, you no longer complain. You ask what it is pointing toward, what emotion is rising, and when you let the emotion pass without labeling it, energy releases itself. Resistance melts into flow. In this state, you understand deeply that awareness is not a mental act, but a quantum event. To see differently is to alter the structure of the energy present. A single non-judgmental look can reshape the entire field of reality. When you grasp that every reaction is a choice, you become free. You realize you were never truly insulted, only hearing an old frequency, never truly rejected, only witnessing an aspect of yourself that still doubts its worth. Each time this happens, you move closer to real freedom, not freedom granted by circumstances, but liberation from the invisible architecture that once governed you. From here, the real process begins. You no longer strive to change the world. You observe how the world mirrors you and adjust your frequency within. When frequency changes, reality follows, for the world is not outside you, but the interface of your consciousness. Those who understand this do not chase or resist. They tune their inner rhythm, and the entire system rebalances itself. Each time you remain still within a wave, you are training your energy field to allow. Once it learns stillness, it no longer needs to repeat lessons through cycles. The loop fades not through effort, but through comprehension. When you realize every experience is a reflection of yourself, you stop fighting and begin creating. From there, life enters a new phase where knowledge becomes embodiment. Living from that state, you finally see the wonder that the universe never opposed you. It only replayed what you broadcast until you could recognize yourself in it and return to being the creator rather than the character lost in the play. At that level of awareness, old loops dissolve like mist, not because you destroyed them, but because you no longer exist at the frequency where they can find you. There is a stage in the process of transformation that most people misunderstand. The stage when everything seems to get worse, when old patterns return with greater force, when emotional waves rise so intensely that you believe you are regressing. In truth, this is not regression, but compression, the gathering of energy before a quantum leap. When old energy is preparing to leave the system, it often erupts most strongly just before it dissolves, like water boiling most violently before it evaporates like a flash of lightning at its brightest before it fades. The universe operates through oscillating phases, and before entering a new frequency band, you must pass through the point of maximum vibration, where everything stirs in order to be rearranged. Many panic in this stage and retreat to old frequencies, believing they have failed, but in fact they stop just before the old structure collapses. When chaos arrives, it does not come to destroy, but to cleanse. It surfaces everything you once buried, the emotions you suppressed, the beliefs you denied, the wounds you thought forgotten. Nothing arises without purpose. Every pain that resurfaces is a signal that an energetic field is about to be released. If you remain still and refuse to flee, if you dare to stay in the storm, you will see order within chaos, logic within collapse, and creation within pain. As an old pattern disintegrates, your energy field undergoes restructuring like a neural or electronic system being shut down and rebooted, scanning all circuits, deleting corrupted links and creating new ones. During this process, the mind often feels lost because the system is recalibrating and consciousness has not yet adjusted to the new rhythm. You may feel uninspired, weary, or uncertain, but that is only the sign of restart. Do not seek meaning through reason at this stage, for meaning emerges only once frequency stabilizes. Let the body and energy do their work. Allow yourself not to know. The silence between two phases of life is a transition zone where old and new no longer stand apart, where you no longer recognize who you were, but do not yet know who you are becoming. Within that blur, reality is reconfiguring itself. At a deeper level, this stage is called phase transition, when energy surpasses its previous threshold and forms a new structure. Every system in nature follows this principle. Water does not slowly become vapor. It reaches the boiling point. Metal does not gradually shift. It changes its atomic pattern when heat reaches its limit. Likewise, transformation in humans is not linear accumulation, but quantum happening in sudden moments when the entire structure of consciousness changes phase all at once. That is why you can feel like a completely different person overnight, because the system reached its threshold and the old pattern collapsed instantly. But before that instant, the system always trembles like a violin string that must be tightened nearly to breaking before it produces the perfect tone. The tension is the condition for harmony. Neurologically, the same occurs in the brain. When you learn a new pattern, old neural connections must weaken to make space for new ones. This causes fatigue, distraction, even self-doubt. But within that disorder, the brain is building new pathways. And once they stabilize, you feel light, clear, effortless. Spiritually, this is known as the dark night of the soul, while in quantum physics, it is the reorganization of probability fields. The quantum field does not evolve through linear progress, but through cycles of collapse and reformation. When you are in the vortex, your only task is not to resist, not to label the turbulence as negative. Remember, no energy is truly negative. It is only energy not yet understood. During this stage, strange signs appear. You may encounter people who once left your life, or old situations may reappear in new forms as if to test whether you have truly shifted frequencies. If you react as before, the loop returns. If you remain calm, the loop dissolves. This is not punishment, but measurement to calibration of how stable your new frequency has become. The system will not let you move to a higher range until you are steady enough to sustain it. Every challenge has purpose, and each time you pass one, you strengthen your new vibration. Many ask how to know if they have truly shifted frequency, and the answer is simple: resistance decreases. Life does not become easier by removing challenge, but by removing conflict. The things that once upset you now make you smile. The places that once triggered anxiety now feel neutral. You no longer seek evidence. You are the evidence. This is the phase where energy becomes fluid like water after breaking the ice, flowing freely without friction. Everything feels natural, not because the outer world is changed, but because you have stopped creating inner resistance. During this process, the body also undergoes fine adjustments. The energy centers known as chakras activate more strongly, especially around the heart and the head. Many feel gentle pulsations, subtle vibrations, or currents moving through them. These are signs of energy release. Your electromagnetic field expands, resonance increases, and you begin to attract opportunities, people, and events aligned with your frequency. Everything arrives faster, lighter, more synchronized. But to reach that point, you must pass through dissolution. No creation occurs without a controlled destruction. The universe never pushes you beyond your capacity. It only brings you to the threshold your system can rebuild from. When you feel like breaking it is the old structure breaking open to make space for the new. Trust the process, even if you do not understand it. For understanding is the work of the mind, while trust is the work of the soul. Each time you trust, your field expands. Each time you doubt, it contracts. Choosing trust is not blindness, but resonance with flow. When the storm finally passes, you realize the miracle that nothing essential was lost. Only what no longer belonged has left. Everything needed for the new frequency remains transformed to higher form. You feel light, yet full, quiet, yet alive. This peace is not the artificial silence of control, but the organic calm of alignment, like a lake after the waves have settled. Then you understand that chaos was never the enemy. It was the rhythm of the universe shaking you awake from the illusion of stability, reminding you that evolution never stops. Looking back, you will see that you were never off your path. You were simply in the compression phase before expansion. And when expansion comes, you are no longer the old self, not because you have become someone else, but because you have remembered who you truly are. No longer striving to become, you return to your natural state where action arises from fullness rather than lack, where you no longer need to control reality because you and reality are one. That is the end of chaos, not through imposed order, but through natural coherence. Everything aligns effortlessly when resistance ceases. And in that moment, you know you have entered a higher plane of awareness where all motion is harmony and peace is no longer the goal, but the natural foundation of existence. When energy begins to stabilize after the restructuring, you enter an entirely different phase where every movement becomes light refined and rhythmically ordered. This is the state scientists call resonance, and those who have traveled the inner path call coherence. Everything starts to unfold in perfect timing meetings that seem coincidental opportunities that appear precisely when needed, ideas that arise at the exact right moment. You no longer push the flow because the flow itself carries you. This is not magic, but the natural consequence of phase alignment between you and the quantum field. When your inner frequency reaches stability, it emits a clear and consistent signal, and the field responds by arranging probabilities that correspond to that signal. This mechanism is known as constructive interference, when two waves in phase meet, their amplitudes amplify and energy multiplies. In life, this shows as outcomes manifesting faster when what you feel, believe, and act upon are aligned. Not because you are doing something new, but because you have stopped canceling your own energy through doubt and fear. In the past, whenever you desired something, you emitted two opposite frequencies, one of wanting and one of fearing, and those two energies neutralized each other. Now that you are no longer splitting, your current energy gathers in one direction, and the universe only needs that single clear signal to respond. True synchronicity does not arise from effort, but from precise alignment between emotion, thought, and action. When these three vectors are coherent, the quantum field takes it as a stable command and collapses probabilities accordingly. In other words, you no longer hope for reality to change. You become the frequency of that reality. Every reality is simply stabilized energy, and you can only experience what matches your vibration. When you maintain internal balance, external conditions naturally organize themselves to mirror that state. If your life begins to feel harmonious with no extremes, no recurring triggers, it is not luck.